Live video streaming just might be the next big thing in the world of digital marketing. And as every digital marketer should know, keeping up to date with the latest developments is key if you want to stay ahead of the competition. What's more, live video streaming could end up being something that changes the whole world, in the same kind of way that cloud computing could potentially change the way all of our technology works and the way we do everything. Live video streaming has potential to impact on every major aspect of our lives. This is an incredible opportunity then, to jump on board with something at this incredibly exciting inception point and to influence its trajectory and its impact on the world. Now imagine if you'd been around when the internet first launched and you had a video series that could tell you exactly how to make the most of everything the web promised. Well, that's exactly where you find yourself now. If you get involved with live video streaming now, you can solidify yourself as a massive presence before other marketers get on board. But what is live video streaming? Just why does it hold so much promise, and how can you make sure that you're doing it right? Well, that's what we're going to find out, so hang on to your hats and get ready for an exciting ride into a brave new frontier in digital marketing. You'll have noticed that this video series is not titled Live Video Streaming Excellence, but rather Periscope Marketing Excellence. So before we go any further, perhaps we should clear that up. For the uninitiated amongst you, just what is Periscope? Well, simply put, Periscope is a platform for video streaming. Just as Facebook is a platform for social media, Periscope is a platform for live video. Why did we choose Periscope to focus on for this video series? Well, simple. Because it's the platform that is currently most likely to take off in the same way that Facebook has. But for now, let's head back to the first question. What is live video streaming and why should you care? Basically, live video streaming does what it says on the tin. It streams video live. Now you might be thinking that's nothing new. After all, isn't Skype exactly the same thing? Isn't FaceTime? And both of those have been around for an age. Well, simple. The answer is yes, that's live streaming too. But what's different about Periscope is that it allows video to be streamed publicly. That means that anyone can tune in and start watching at any time. Additionally, they allow people to comment live, allowing the person filming to view and respond to the messages. Live streaming is a little like having your own television channel, except you only need a phone with one of the live streaming apps, such as Periscope, installed. From here, you then just point the phone and start shooting and can broadcast your message to as many people as are online to watch at any given time. When you use Periscope, you'll find that you're presented with a map of the world upon signing in. On this map are various points where you can see people who are currently streaming video. Simply click on the dot on the map and the name of the broadcaster, and then you can tune in to start watching what they're filming. You can then comment on the video, ask questions, like it, follow the person, or leave to watch something else. At this point, you may still be struggling to get what it is about live streaming that's so exciting or so different. In that case, I highly recommend installing the app yourself. You can find it on the Google Play Store for Android, and it's quite a complicated URL, so if you just come to play.google.com, click on the link that says apps and then do a search for Periscope, it'll take you to this page. And you can also find it on iTunes for your iPhone. Again, it's a very complicated URL, so if you come to itunes.apple.com and then do a search for Periscope, it'll take you to this page and then you can install it very simply. Once you do, click on a video. What you'll find is that it provides an incredibly voyeuristic feeling of getting a window into the lives of people from all corners of the globe. More amazing still is when you sign in and start watching a video and the person on camera actually greets you by name. It really feels as though technology is allowing you to transcend the limits of time and space, and it's at this point that you realize the potential and the excitement of live video streaming. So if you log into Periscope right now, what can you expect to see? Really, there's quite a huge variety at the moment. Common videos include people doing workouts while their phone films them, people chatting over a cup of coffee or a mug of tea on a particular topic, people lying in bed just staring into the camera, people cooking and talking through recipes, people talking randomly, people reading excerpts from books, people not doing anything and just letting their viewers watch them as they go about their lives, television presenters using Periscope to add more productivity, and a whole lot more. What you also find quite a lot of is, well, people just using Periscope for experimental purposes. When you first get the app, one of the first things to do is to try streaming, and a lot of people will just open their phones only for a moment, press the camera and then chicken out and stop filming. What's really exciting about live video streaming is the potential it offers for the future. Right now, Periscope is the most popular streaming app, but it still doesn't have floods of content. If you sign in right now, you'll likely find there are around 100 to 200 people recording content in the US. Now that might sound like a lot, but it's hardly much when you compare it to something like YouTube, where thousands of hours of content are being uploaded daily. What's exciting is where Periscope will likely go as the technology progresses and the concept catches on. Essentially, live video streaming allows you to truly have eyes everywhere and to transport yourself anywhere in the world. It allows you to transport yourself anywhere, and that means that you can see the world through the eyes of others. If you don't believe right now that live video marketing can get that big, then consider what would happen if there was a major world event right now. Now imagine a huge riot in the streets that was being reported all over the news and which was simultaneously being streamed through Periscope by multiple different people at multiple locations around the event. Can you imagine what a difference this would make to the reporting? How do you feel if you could experience being there live and speak to the person holding the camera? Inevitably, when this does happen, people will rush to the platform and it will boom in a huge way. Meanwhile, live video streaming could be used to stream other events like concerts from multiple angles. Or it could be used more, as it is already being, to add an interactive element to television. You could watch something being filmed, like the news, and at the same time see it from your phone behind the scenes. It can also be used in more intimate ways. For instance, imagine that you can't attend a family gathering because you live in another country. Well, using Periscope, it will be possible for your family to beam you in, and you could even follow different family members around different rooms. Likewise, for people who perhaps feel a bit lonely, Periscope could be used to take part in group gatherings or even just for some background company. In the future, we may also expect technology to progress and drive this forward further. For instance, it may one day be possible to see previews of the footage right in the thumbnails, like hundreds of tiny windows to different parts of the world. Video fidelity will improve too, and so will the options that we have for capturing video. So imagine if something like Google Glass were to one day take off, allowing us to feed exactly what someone else is being fed straight to us anywhere in the world. And this is no pipe dream either. Live video streaming is still very new. Periscope and its major competitors all launched only in the last year, and yet it's already gaining huge momentum. For instance, did you know that Periscope already has over 10 million user accounts? And if you add up all the footage that's been recorded so far, it comes to over 40 years of footage. Periscope also has 2 million active users every single day, and these users are located across 25 different countries. In the month it launched, it got 60,000 tweets every single day. Twitter definitely believes in the potential of Periscope in particular, seeing as they were willing to invest an incredible $100 million to purchase it. And Periscope isn't the only success story in this category either. Meerkat launched around the same time as a competitor to Periscope and had 120,000 users by the end of the first month. Twitch, which streams live video games, has 12 billion users at the end of 2014. Blab is another new streaming app which shows promise with incredible engagement. Their average user spends 65 minutes a day watching videos on the platform. And YouTube has been on the act too. The company live streamed some events, and the E3 event in 2015 managed to attract a gigantic 8 million viewers within just 12 hours. So in other words, this is massive news. People see the huge potential of live streaming, and as such they're flocking to it. So should you be. As you can hopefully see, video streaming has huge potential and will likely have a massive impact on the world. But how about marketing? Why is it such a big deal for internet marketers? How can you even use Periscope to market yourself? Now let's start by answering the first question first. Why is Periscope big news for marketers? What are the advantages? Well, right now the biggest news with regards to live streaming for marketing is just how new it is. The truly excellent thing about trying to market yourself on Periscope today is that you're likely to be the first brand in your niche to do so. As mentioned, there are probably around 100 to 200 people streaming videos from the US at any given time, and that's actually a somewhat generous estimate, and that's just one country. As also mentioned, a lot of these videos are people who are just staring at the camera, not doing much, or even just turning it on for a few seconds and then turning it off. If you come into Periscope with a video that provides really useful, interesting information about making money online or working out, if you can show off high production values, great presentation skills and useful information, then you're bound to get a gigantic following right away. In fact, even those videos of people who are just staring at the camera find they get a big response and a lot of new followers. That's simply because the platform is so new and so exciting, people right now are eating up any kind of content that they can get on here. Try it yourself. Head over to Periscope today and try filming yourself just eating some cereal. You'll be almost guaranteed to get some followers from there. Now, can you think of any other platform right now where that's the case? Can you imagine if you got new followers every time you tweeted anything? Remember too, this is a big audience. There are 10 million user accounts on Periscope, so that's a gigantic potential audience for you to reach out to. All you need to do is to use Periscope as you would any other platform for marketing. Now you have your audience, you just need to recommend them to follow your blog or to sign up for your mailing list. And imagine being in this position, being one of the biggest personalities on Periscope as it begins to take off and everyone starts using it. Potentially, you could launch a career from this and certainly direct huge amounts of traffic to a blog or website. It's also great that Periscope is owned by Twitter. This makes it very easy for people to find you and for you to build and communicate with your following. The possibilities that Periscope represents goes beyond the usual marketing opportunities though. This is a completely new platform and it makes possible some completely new types of marketing and ways of promoting yourself. I was recently watching a stream on Periscope of someone presenting the news. In the stream, one of the presenters said that they were hungry and that they could kill for a burger. At that point, someone messaged them and said they were bringing over their burger van. Shortly after, the burger van turned up and delivered the burgers to the people on the video. Meanwhile, we were all watching from around the world as the burger van got free exposure. This is a truly incredible example of a completely new way of marketing that simply wouldn't have been possible only recently. Imagine if you could go onto Periscope right now and find a stream of a hair salon. Maybe the phone is just set up in the corner and you're watching some of the customers come and go as the stylists cut and style their hair. You notice that everyone seems friendly, the place looks relaxing and fun, and it's just down the road. Better yet, the hairstyles look amazing. How likely would you now want to go and check that place out? This is one of the other big advantages of Periscope. It's focused very much on geography. If you load up the Periscope app right now, you'll be taken straight to the feed where you'll see posts from people you're following. If you click the next tab along the top though, you'll get a map on here and you can zoom around to any part of the world and see how many people are broadcasting in any given area. You can even see their location on a map underneath the feed itself when you're watching. Now this means that you can theoretically zoom right into your area and then see all the exciting things going on down your road. This is an incredibly interesting way to find new places to shop, new things to do, and new people to work with. And remember what we said about the future of live video streaming. How better connections will likely mean we don't have to load each stream. So imagine then if you could load up a page for your area and see all the things that are happening at once down your road or in your neighborhood. It would literally be like you were omnipresent, and businesses could expose themselves in all kinds of ways like this. Even used as a simple vlogging platform, live video streaming opens up some exciting new possibilities. The very fact that your videos are live, for instance, will make them infinitely more excitable and more watchable. This is also perfect for an event or a product launch. Building up to an event is always a great way to generate buzz around it, and people will always want what they can't have right away. This is why many bloggers will run limited time only video seminars. Live streaming offers a much more legitimate way to do that. And speaking of seminars, how much better it would be for your audience if you taught them a new subject live. You could respond to questions in the comments, and your audience could really feel as though they're attending a live event. You could even charge for the privilege. Think about landing a big interview with someone and then your audience being able to watch you interview them live and even chip in with their own questions. Or imagine just being able to answer questions that your blog subscribers have, over some coffee. And this is a highly interactive way to get feedback and ideas from your audience. In other words, there are huge possibilities here for marketers, and many people are already taking full advantage of that and becoming minor celebrities through the platform. Okay, so now you know why live video streaming is exciting and you know what it's all about. Now it's time to learn about the leading platform, Periscope. What's more, we'll also see how to get set up with a Periscope account, how to find your way around, and how to start filming. This is where it all starts. So, why Periscope and not, say, Meerkat? Well, simply put, Periscope is currently the best platform. It has the most users, and it's also owned by Twitter for better synergy with other social media. What's more, it has the very best looking app. It has a much slicker interface than Meerkat and feels a lot more polished, more intuitive to navigate, and more professional. By comparison, Meerkat is really a little rough around the edges. What's more is that Periscope has a lot of impressive features not offered by Meerkat. The first among these is the interactive map. Now, we've already discussed how useful this is and how useful it's likely to be going forward. Periscope will store the videos you've filmed for 24 hours. And this makes Periscope better as well for a global approach to marketing. Remember, if you want people from around the world to watch your videos, you're going to need to make them available in different time zones. Using Periscope allows you to do this because anyone who's asleep while you're filming can simply find the video and play it back at their leisure at another time. Periscope has the best traction, the best tools, and the best design. For the moment, it's the #1 platform, and with Twitter behind it, it's likely to continue that way for a long time to come. While Periscope is the app that everyone is talking about right now, it was actually Meerkat that was the first of its kind to truly kick things off. Meerkat was drawing a lot of attention when it was first announced in March 2015 and managed to generate a lot of buzz. There was a flurry of media coverage at this point, and early on it started to work very closely alongside Twitter, which gave it a big boost. Early on, Meerkat was known as Yevo and then Air. However, Twitter quickly realized that this live streaming malarkey might well be big news, and so it launched its own competing service, Periscope. Actually, the company bought Periscope, which was much lesser known at the time, for $100 million. With Twitter behind it, Periscope quickly rose to dominance thanks to the features we've already covered and a better budget. Okay, so now you know the basics, it's time to dive in and give Periscope a go. How do you do this? And once it's up and running, how do you start finding your way around the somewhat daunting interface? Well, you can head over to periscope.tv to check out the app, but more useful is just to head over to your respective app store and install it. Once you've done that, you'll then have the option to sign in with your Twitter account. Assuming that you're already doing some online marketing, you should have one already, and this will make it very quick and easy to get set up. Taking this route is also advisable for another reason. It will allow you to follow people on Periscope that you're following on Twitter, and it will let your Twitter followers find your videos too. Alternatively though, you can sign up to Periscope with a phone number which will require you to confirm the receipt of a text message. Now you're signed up, you'll be set loose in the world of Periscope. The first page you'll be shown here has a list of feeds from people who follow you on Twitter. If you look at the bottom, you'll notice 3 icons. The second of these is a globe icon, and if you touch this, you'll be shown a map. On the map will be numerous circles with numbers in them. These numbers show you how many people are streaming in that area right now, and if you tap on the number, you'll open up a list of those feeds on the bottom part of the page. These feeds each have titles as well as usernames. The title is what you can use to find out specific types of content. If one says WOD, for instance, this is probably a CrossFit workout of the day. As with Google Maps, you can also pinch to zoom in and out, and if you zoom in on any given area, then you should find that there are more people here that you can find. The next tab along the right, meanwhile, is a group of people. If you click this one, you'll be shown popular users and a little about what they do, and you can then choose to follow them. Further on the right, you'll find your settings button where you can edit your profile and also edit settings. The settings control is rather bare bones and mainly comprised of options to change the notification sounds that play. Something you can do though is to decide whether or not you'd like to auto-save your broadcast to your gallery. This is an interesting option for marketers, as it means that you can theoretically save the videos you're making as you're making them and then upload them to YouTube later, or just watch them back for your own private viewing. Note that this autosave function is off by default. Therefore, if you would like to save your videos, you want to head in here and change that. Once you've found a video that you want to watch, just touch the title or the thumbnail, which will be a still from the video, and it will open up. After connecting for a moment, you'll be able to hit a play button in the bottom right-hand corner, which will begin the stream. From here, you can then type into the Say Something box in order to add your own comments. Alternatively, you can also share the video if you want other people to see it, or like it, which will show a little heart on the video that will serve as a nice compliment for the person recording. When you start streaming, your name will show for the broadcaster, and they'll also be able to see the comments that you post, as will others. They can then respond to you directly by talking, and this then creates a two-way communication between the broadcaster and the viewer. It's recommended that you spend some time at this point watching videos that other people have uploaded. Doing so will allow you to get a good idea of the kinds of content that people upload and what's successful on the platform. Okay, that's enough build-up. It's time to stream your first video. Now, don't be anxious. While it can seem scary, there really is nothing to worry about. To begin with, the video that you're going to make should be something really simple and straightforward, and it doesn't necessarily have to be entertaining. For instance, it's perfectly acceptable just to record a video of you pointing the camera around your room. The video will be lost in 24 hours and very likely few people will see it. So just take a few deep breaths and get ready to start filming. Now what you're going to do is find the icon that looks like a camera. This button is down at the bottom right and is a red circle. Hit this and you'll be able to enter the title for your video and to decide whether it should be public or private as well, and whether or not you want to share your location and whether you want to tweet what you've just been streaming, and this is great if you already have an audience. Choose a title that's going to sound interesting to your niche and then just hit play. From there you'll see the feed yourself as you point the camera around, and you can decide whether you want to stop the video or flip to show the front-facing camera. There are actually no controls right on the Periscope screen itself, thus in order to control it you slide down and then hit stop to stop it, and you double tap the screen anywhere to flip to the front-facing camera. At this point you'll probably want to stop filming quickly in order to avoid making a long video of you swinging the camera around and looking nervous. But well done, you just took your first bold step into the world of video streaming. Are you as excited as I am? Now you're up and running, you need to actually start offering some good videos that people are going to want to watch, and you're going to need to come up with a strategy in order to get people to start following. As a general rule, there are two types of people who are interested in internet marketing. Those are people who are making money online purely through affiliate marketing and their own blog, and people who run a small business and want to get more exposure for said business in order to increase revenue and profits. The two strategies are going to be somewhat different, so I'm going to split them up into two sections. In this video, I'm going to concentrate on Periscope marketing for internet marketers. In the next video, I'll talk about Periscope marketing for small businesses. Okay, so if you're an internet marketer then, fundamentally your Periscope account is going to act like an extension or an addition to your current selection of platforms. Your objectives here are to, first of all, build a big audience of followers, and secondly, build the trust of that audience. Thankfully, that's very easy to do right now, and the strategy you use is going to be very similar to the one that you're used to. This can also be neatly summed up with 2 bullet points: provide value and be highly consistent. In other words, your aim is to consistently deliver high-quality videos on a single topic and to ensure that they offer some real value for the end user. The idea is simply to get to the point where people are actively looking for your content and looking forward to seeing more of your content. And because so much of the content on Periscope is very amateurish right now, you can actually do this really rather easily. Simply come up with a format and make sure that the topic is nicely relevant to the nature of your niche. Try to use the best production values you can, try to come up with a good theme and something to tie it all together. But most importantly, make sure people come away having learned something or been entertained generally. Value is super important because it's what will make people generally want to keep watching your content and what will make them want to look out for more content from you in future. Consistency is also important because if they enjoy one video but then your next one is on a different topic or just isn't very good quality, they'll lose interest and look elsewhere. The most obvious and straightforward way to deliver value to your audience while staying on topic is simply to give talks on a given subject that your audience can interact with. So if your niche is dating, then you might just film yourself talking on a different dating related topic at the same time every day or every week. The title of the video will show what you're discussing, and if people find it interesting, as they're looking through the videos that are available, they'll start watching and hopefully they'll follow you. So far, so easy. But remember, there are other opportunities with something like Periscope as well, and it doesn't hurt to add something of a more dynamic, interesting or personal touch occasionally. In other words, take advantage of your medium. One of the exciting things about Periscope is that it feels, rather voyeuristic. If you have a following on social media already, of people who consider themselves to be your fans, then they'll likely be excited by the opportunity to see you live. So whenever you find yourself doing something exciting or interesting, well, stream it. This way, you can create an image for yourself as someone who does exciting things, and you can help people feel more connected with you. The latter point is very important for building trust, and when you eventually come to sell something, the fact that you've been sharing lots of useful information and inviting people into your life and your thought process will make it easier to generate lots of sales and conversions. This also means you can make more dynamic and interesting content that will benefit from being live. Now, perhaps you have a dating blog, or you could actually put yourself out there and try approaching women or men on film. That's very interesting and exciting to watch being broadcast live. Likewise, if your niche is fitness, the showing of a live feed of you working out is something that will feel very raw, interesting and engaging for your audience. Again, you're letting them in on your personal life and you're showing them another side to yourself. Compare this with the hundreds of people in their dressing gowns talking about nothing, and your content is really going to stand out. Of course, you're going to combine this with strong branding on your website, stunning social media presence, and promotional events that drive people to your videos. All this is stuff we're going to go into more later on, but that's the general strategy and the general concept. Okay, in the next video, I'll talk about Periscope marketing for small businesses. In the last video, we looked at how internet marketers can use Periscope. If you're running a small business though, you need to take a slightly different approach. For example, you won't want to go the personal route and show those insights into your daily life. What you can do though is give some personality by showing behind the scenes. This is just one exciting type of content that businesses can use, and once again it builds trust. For instance, how about showing off your kitchen? This is something that can always impress for a restaurant, as it shows the thought, care and attention that goes into your food. Show the artistry behind your craft and people will be both interested and inspired to try what you've created. Likewise, you can also live stream your business itself. Let people visit you remotely and thereby become more interested, and they might come in to see for themselves for real. And this works particularly well for local businesses, and in general, Periscope is a fantastic tool for local business thanks to that map feature. You can also use Periscope to do Q&As for your business and to show off your products live. And if you're launching some kind of event, then that's the perfect opportunity to get people involved on Periscope. Likely, if your business isn't focused on media creation and internet marketing, as it is for a professional marketer, then you probably won't want to invest all of your time into creating content for the web. However, what you can still do is to stream events, interviews, Q&As and backstage passes, and then promote those through social media. This will both help you to build more brand visibility and trust with your existing fans, and it's going to help new people discover your organization. Remember that one of the best things about live video streaming is that you can simply set up a camera in the corner of the room. The longer you leave it running, the more followers you'll get, and there's no reason that you have to change your routine at all if you have an exciting and bustling business. Note that this means it makes sense to get another phone or tablet that you can use to film your footage so that you can still make calls and do other things. Regardless of your strategy, at the end of the day, you're still going to need to create the best content that you possibly can. In this video, we're going to look at how you can do this so that you have a real advantage over the competition already on the app. This is going to have some things in common with creating great video content for YouTube or for any other platform. Ultimately, you're recording videos and there's only so many different options that you have regarding how you go about that. But there are also some unique differences. Of course, you're not going to get the chance to edit your footage, and this also means that you can't add music or effects. And as we'll see, there are also some other slightly more subtle ways that making video for this platform differs. We'll look at both general video making tips here, as well as some tips that specifically apply to streaming content. And once you spend some time on Periscope, you'll quickly realize that this is something more people need to do. As I mentioned, live streaming videos mean that you can't add any editing after you've already filmed the video. This also means you'll need to do as much as you can to add to the footage in other ways. For instance, the lack of music can often make videos seem less professional, and this draws more attention to your pauses and silences, and it also makes it harder for you to generate some emotion in your footage. So, what can you do to get around this? Well, simply add some music in the background. Of course, there are potential copyright issues here, but for now this is something that you don't need to worry about too much. Unlike YouTube, Periscope can't detect copyright music, and it's also uncertain how the law would apply to all this anyway. Still, if you have some of your own tracks or if you have license-free music, then using that could be a good strategy. Of course, if you're a marketer, then one of the main things that you're going to be trying to do is to sell things or promote your blog. And you can do this by telling people in the video itself where they can find more of your content or buy your products. But this won't always work, as some people are likely to miss it. So what can you do to encourage people to check out the links that you want them to look at? Well, one easy answer is to share those links right on the video. On YouTube, you might do this by having a caption on the video or even a link. Now, as you can't do this on a Periscope video, then what you'll need to do is find another way to add the text. And one way to do that is simply to include your branding in the video itself. You could actually make a piece of card showing your brand and the address of your website, for example. Or alternatively, you could make a mug with your website name on it and drink out of that. Or you could even print out a t-shirt with your company name and wear that. This way, at any point during the video, your audience can decide that they want to learn more about your brand, and they can then visit your website to do that. Finally, one last tip is to think about the scripting and the structure of your video if you intend it to be informational. The big problem here is that people are going to be tuning in to watch your footage at various different points in the video, and sometimes they'll be tuning in when you're already halfway through the talk. If you're waffling on for ages with no plan and no rhyme or reason, the people who miss the very start will be lost and they probably won't want to keep watching. Now, to get round this, make sure that you continuously recap on the topic of your video and what you've already covered so far. Likewise, the right structure can also help with this to a large extent. List videos in particular work very well because these ensure that people can quickly catch up with what's being said. For example, the top 10 pec exercises is a great video because people coming in at point number 8 will still be able to learn 2 useful exercises. What's also good about something like this is that it's going to allow you to have a structure to keep referring back to. Of course, part of the appeal of this kind of content is that you can interact with your audience and you can answer questions, so you can't actually follow a rigid script. However, if you have a structure, then you can easily get back on course once the topic gets derailed. Other props can also help with this. For instance, why not have a whiteboard in the video and refer to that occasionally? If you're still stuck for ideas of videos to make, here are some good suggestions that will work very well for a variety of different niches. And the first one is how-tos. Talk your audience through how to do something and answer questions as you go. Then there are countdowns. Now, as I just mentioned, top 10 lists and the like often work well. And there are songs. If you're a talented singer or musician, then share that talent. People love live performances. Concerts, well, better yet. Then there's AMAs. Now, AMA is Ask Me Anything. In these videos, one person will put themselves forward and answer questions on any topic. Then there are interviews. Get someone interesting on your show and interview them. There's also debates, launch events, talks over lunch or breakfast or on the commute. Find a point in your day to chat to your audience and share a tip then. This is both personal and informative at the same time. Then of course there's product reviews, and these work great on YouTube and they'll be just as effective on Periscope. There's seminars and courses, and if you call your video a course, then this elevates it to a whole new other level. There's discussions, and in a discussion you let the comments lead the direction of your video. Also talks. Now if you're giving a talk, make sure someone is streaming it for you. It looks professional. There's incidental, and an incidental video is a video that you film as you go about doing other things. There's also life hacks, workouts, dating attempts, cooking, recipes, tutorials, let's plays, for games, behind the scenes, a day in the life, the list just goes on and on and on. And there are way more things that you can do, but hopefully this has given you some good inspiration to start with. What's also key to making sure your video is a hit is to present it well so that people enjoy watching it. To do that, you need to make sure that you're looking good and that you're able to communicate your very best. So this is a real skill, and it's even harder live as, once again, there's no option to edit anything. One key point to get out of the way though is to always keep going. In other words, if you stutter or you make a mistake, then just recover and keep going. Don't draw attention to it. Of course, you want to limit your stuttering as much as possible, and one way to do that is to simply talk a little more slowly. The slower you talk, the clearer you'll become, the more you will enunciate, and actually the more confident, calm and intelligent you'll sound. It's very easy to speed up when you're talking, without actually realizing it. So make sure that you're going slower than you think you should be. It actually pays to watch yourself back. The same goes for your presentation skills. Once again, playing your footage back will allow you to see where you're going wrong and how you could maybe be more charismatic. The answer in many cases is to try and be bigger. In order to come across as charismatic, research says that it's important to gesticulate more. This makes you seem passionate about what you're saying, and it makes you take up more space. Both of those things are great in capturing the imaginations of your audience. The same goes for the way you say things. Try to sound over the top like a children's presenter. It'll seem strange at first, but it comes across much better on camera, and it makes you far more engaging to watch. Imagine you're in a show and make everything a little larger than life. Finally, try to dress well. Shave if you're a man, or wear makeup if you're a woman, and get your hair done. These small things add polish to your appearance, and the result is that you'll seem much more trustworthy, successful and attractive. All things that make more people want to watch you. Finally, consider the following pointers to make your videos seem more professional. You'll want to create a set. Now, when you're filming your videos, it's a good idea to have something in the background. Don't just film in your kitchen or your bedroom, especially if you have clothes everywhere. Instead, take a little time to create a backdrop for yourself. Now, perhaps that means sitting at your desk and hanging up some posters right into your niche. You could even hang up a poster of your brand. Another option is to film in front of a white backdrop. Now, this is hard to do without editing, but a bedsheet pulled taut along with some good lighting can do the trick near enough. And lighting also makes a big difference to how crisp everything looks and how good you look. Ideally, you want to set up what's called Rembrandt lighting, which is lighting that is coming specifically from one side. And this will light half your face and give everything more depth, texture and contrast. And natural light is just fine for this. At the moment, Periscope does not support streaming video with anything other than a smartphone. It doesn't matter though. It just means that you need to get a new smartphone with a decent camera. Make sure that the front-facing camera is good too. This is just as important for you to capture great footage, as often you'll want to see yourself in the shot as you're filming. Think too about the quality of your sound. This comes down to the quality of the microphone in your phone, but also the acoustics of the room you're filming in. So you want to avoid filming in large, echoing rooms. Now that you're creating some amazing videos that are well made and that deliver real value to the end user, well done. You're now in the very top percentile of content creators on the platform. The next challenge, though, is to get people to actually find and watch the amazing content that you're creating. So, how do you do that? Here are some additional strategies you can use to get people to start following you. And the first one is to bring them via Twitter. Now, as mentioned, Twitter and Periscope are highly compatible and work flawlessly together. Not only do new Periscope users see all the people that they're following on Twitter through their Periscope feed, but you also have the ability to easily share the fact that you're on Periscope through Twitter. Now, you could write an entire book on marketing via Twitter and building your following on that platform, but for now, some takeaway pointers. First is to just keep adding lots of new tweets to Twitter and to make sure that those posts are as great a quality as you can possibly make them. That means they should be entertaining, but it also means that they need to include the right hashtags so that people can find them easily. Make sure that you jump onto trending topics and specifically those within your niche. Another tip is to add your Twitter feed to your blog or website in one of the sidebars. This is a great trick because it means that someone who visits your website and likes what they see can then follow you on Twitter and maybe even follow the link if they see that you're currently streaming. Another tip, make sure you talk about Periscope to your Twitter followers often. The more you do this, the more of your existing followers will migrate over to your subscribers on that platform. There's also actually a Periscope on-air button that you can use on your blog. And this will allow you to add a small button showing any visitors to your blog that you're currently streaming content. To do this, you need to add and activate the Twitter plugin for WordPress, which you can do from within the WordPress dashboard, or you can come here to wordpress.org/plugins/Twitter and install it manually. And from there you go to Appearance, Widgets, and then find the Periscope on Air widget from the list of available widgets, and you add it to your sidebar, and there you go. This doesn't only show people when you're on Periscope so they can start watching you. It also shows them that you're sometimes on Periscope and they can follow you if they want to see more content from you. It's generally great marketing, and it has another advantage that we haven't touched on much yet about Periscope. By being on there, you show yourself as being right at the cutting edge of developments on the web, and you make your business seem more modern, more exciting, and more interesting. If you run a marketing agency, then this is especially pertinent for you to try and communicate. Another thing that you can do is build anticipation via email. Now, if you have a mailing list, then this is another great way to build followers on Periscope. The idea here is to build anticipation for some upcoming event that you'll be streaming through the app. Now, whether that's going to be a talk, a conference, a launch party, or something completely different, it's up to you. You've probably done this in the past as a marketer, built anticipation over an email or autoresponder sequence for the launch of a product or the first part of your sales funnel. But in this case, you actually have a legitimately exciting live event for people to sign up to. They'll have to wait for the amazing lessons you're going to teach them, but in the meantime they can sign up for an account and start following you on this exciting new platform. Next is live events. Now, if you're at a conference or a launch party and you're giving a talk, then why not suggest people start streaming it right now so that others can share in the excitement? Or why not record it yourself and tell your audience that they're being streamed and they can watch the footage if they start following you in the next 24 hours. Then there's creating passive content. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Periscope is currently young enough that creating any content is likely to get you more shares. So that means the longer you leave your footage recording, the more followers you'll get. And in that case, why not just leave your footage recording for a few hours? Simply set up your camera in the corner of the room and leave it rolling while you do your workout, do your work or go about your business. Either way, you're now creating passive content. It's completely easy and free for you to generate this content, yet it has great returns. Talk about the perfect ROI. You can also add to YouTube. Another good move is to save the footage as you record it. This way, you'll be able to add it to YouTube, which means that more people can search for it and find it, and this means they can be exposed to the excitement of your live footage. The hope then is that they enjoy the content but realize how much more exciting it would be to have been to watch and participate live, thus encouraging them to subscribe. At the very least, uploading your content to YouTube afterwards means that you can get more use out of it, which increases your ROI for that activity. You can also share your videos. You can share your videos on Periscope with Facebook, Twitter, and even on your blog by grabbing a link. Do this. Likewise, you can ask people to share your content themselves, and you can do this right in the video. You never know, someone might be a big influencer. And you can talk about it. It's also important to simply make sure that you mention your Periscope account at every opportunity. In other words, don't just create the account and hope people will stumble upon it. Instead, create it and then mention it on your blog, on your YouTube channel, on your Twitter feed, and so on. Take every opportunity to get people excited about it and interested in it. And finally, you should interact with others. One of the keys to marketing success on social media is not just to become a parasite. In other words, don't go on social media and simply promote your own content, or people will quickly become annoyed with you. Instead, try to be an active and valuable member of the community. This way, people will add you simply to return the favor or to find out who it was who commented on their video. There's a lot of exciting buzz around Periscope right now, so use that to your advantage. And remember too that you can take advantage of live events as a way to expose yourself to someone else's audience, just like that guy with the burger van. We've looked at Periscope in a lot of depth here, but actually much of what we've discussed will also work on Meerkat. Meerkat isn't quite as popular as Periscope, but it's still certainly worth your time, and it actually has a lot of unique benefits of its own. What's more is that Meerkat can expose you to a new and different audience, and on top of that you also have the excellent Blab, which has some entirely different benefits and uses. There's also YouTube live streaming, which is a little different, but for now we'll just be looking at Meerkat and Blab. When you download the Meerkat for Android or iOS, you'll find it's largely very similar to Periscope. Once again, you have a feed where you can see people's videos playing live, and at the same time you can also start recording your own. What's lacking here compared with Periscope is the option to view feeds by geographical location, or to view feeds that have finished filming. But there are also some interesting benefits and distinctions here. One is that Meerkat lets you schedule upcoming streams. This way, people can see an advert essentially for a live stream event that you're planning to do later, and will know that they can check back there to watch it if they're interested. This seems to have helped Meerkat become particularly popular with certain bloggers, and there does seem to be a slightly more professional feel to lots of the videos. Another advantage to Meerkat is it lets you show images while you're talking. And this is a great way for you to illustrate or highlight your point, and what's also great about it is that it lets you show your product, your website or your service. If you had to pick just one platform, then Periscope is probably the better choice because of its size and the power of the app. It's also the one that's likely to keep growing at the current very fast pace. But the good news is that you don't have to pick. There's nothing stopping you from using Meerkat once in a while, and if you're so inclined, you can even promote your Periscope account through it. Now, Blab is the one that's a little more interesting. This is a live streaming app that's really quite different from the other two, but in some exciting ways. Now, Blab is essentially a live streaming app that runs through your browser, although there is also an iOS app available. Rather than being used to film people walking down the road or doing workouts, Blab is more about discussions, debates and presentations. In other words, people tend to be sat down and a bit closer to using it, a bit like Skype. As with Periscope or Meerkat though, you can still start watching content from someone else at any time, and you can still comment on videos that they're filming or choose to follow them. What's different though, and you'll notice this early on, is that the videos tend to take up 1/4 of the screen, or they're split into 4 segments with 4 different people. What's going on here is that it really is like Skype insofar as you can watch one person presenting, or you can watch 2, 3 or 4-way discussions. One person creates the stream and then starts filming and chatting, and then at any point they can invite other people to take a seat and join the discussion. This creates a whole new slew of opportunities and potential ways to market yourself. For instance, it means that you can be much more interactive with your audience. Want to do an AMA? Then why not just invite your audience to take turns asking you questions live on air that you can answer on camera and that other people can watch. Likewise, you can conduct interviews with people across the globe. Another great benefit of this is that when someone joins the discussion, they become a host for the content as well. And this means that their followers will then also see the footage being promoted in their feed, meaning that you can get more eyes on what you're recording. What's also interesting about this is that it makes it possible for you to appear in other people's videos and thereby gain exposure that way. Now, say you're watching a video being recorded by a big blogger like Tim Ferriss. You could ask him to have a go in the hot seat, and if he said yes, you'd then be exposed to his entire audience watching at the same time, giving you an amazing opportunity to show how much you know and the kinds of content that you're capable of producing. When you first go on Blab, you'll find that people are very keen to invite you into their discussions, and this can actually be quite nerve-wracking at first. In fact, this is also perfect practice for getting better at presenting and also for getting better at interacting with strangers and for speaking as an authority on your topic. In other words, this is fantastic practice for presenting and a great way to hone your skills. And it's very useful even if you only use it for that purpose. There are additional benefits of Blab too. One is that the footage you record here is saved not just for 24 hours, but actually indefinitely. And this means that people can opt to watch videos that you made at any point, and that's a great way to get more exposure. Another advantage is that Blab lets videos be sorted by niche and topic, and this makes them easier to look through, and it's very helpful for improving discovering of your videos or helping you to find content that you're interested in. But despite all its benefits, Blab still isn't quite up there with Periscope yet. For starters, it's much smaller in terms of its user base, and it's actually still in beta at the moment when I'm making this video. On top of that, it's designed very much to be used for conversations, and having a small quadrant of the screen doesn't really lend itself to sharing videos that aren't all about talking. So this isn't a good option if you want to stream a concert or a big event. And as mentioned, there are also a few other platforms. YouTube lets you stream events, but you'll need to promote those events for them to show up. Of course, the advantage is how well known YouTube is, and you can build some massive audiences here. Twitch, meanwhile, is great if you're promoting a blog about gaming, but otherwise it isn't really applicable. But otherwise, well, watch this space. It's only a matter of time before some new contenders enter the scene. Hopefully you now understand not only the basics of Periscope, but also why video streaming is so big, where it's heading, and how you can succeed on it. Essentially, this is like a live version of video marketing, but it gives you a lot of potential uses and advantages beyond other forms of marketing. Periscope allows you to interact with your audience in exciting new ways, and in the future, it could allow us to have eyes everywhere all at once. The keys to success? Well, it's the same as it's always been. Keep delivering high quality content and be consistent in terms of your regularity and your topic. If you do this, you'll gain a following and you'll build trust with that following rapidly. Finally, use the techniques that we've recommended to improve the production values of your video and gradually build a bigger and bigger audience. Talk about your Periscope channel. Build up big events. Share your videos on YouTube, build your Twitter following, and add widgets to your blog. Do all this and you'll find you quickly rise to prominence on the platform. Best of all though is the fact that this is the very best time to get involved in live video streaming. This is an entirely new marketing platform that's highly likely to change the way we think about streaming content and to make the world an even smaller place. It's only a matter of time before live video streaming impacts on the world in a gigantic way and becomes a simple part of everyday life. Put in the work now and you can be a pioneer of this exciting new technology, and you can make sure that you've established an audience ready for when it really explodes and takes off. You may have missed the app rush. You may have missed the dot-com boom. But you're alive and ready at the right time to take full advantage of the early days of live video streaming. And guess what? Now that you've seen this video series, you have all the information, skills and techniques that you need to make sure that you do that. Go forth and start streaming. And I wish you every success.